As you were reviewing, getting ready, was there anything in particular that you had a question you'd like to ask? Yeah, Paul.
For what is the difference between serial and parallel transfer? I get that, but then what hardware is required to implement?
Good. Let's see, is that right?
I think it's other.
Oh, is it up above? Sorry. Okay, right here. Okay, let's talk about that. So, you sort of already said the difference, but when we think about a parallel transfer, let's say we have a register here. Like inside our computers, when we're loading is that a parallel load or a serial load? On the small computer, we just hand it into the system. That's a parallel load, right? We're getting all the bits at once. So, if it's 8 bits here, whatever, we're moving it from register A to register B. That would be a parallel transfer. And it's that we have a 1 wire per bit, as big as our register is. The advantage of parallel transfer is what? What's good about this?
The speed.
Speed, right? I get the whole thing, wham, 1 clock cycle. I've moved all of that data. And I want to say that we do this most of the time when we're like what I'll call on chip. If these registers lay on the same piece of silicon, if they're inside the computer or inside the system that we're doing, we're going to do parallel transfers because wires there are not that expensive and we want the data to move quickly. But what if I have to move this data off of this chip and into somewhere else? Or especially if that somewhere else is far away. What is far away? Probably like 1 inch is far away for us. Certainly a foot or 10 feet or 1,000 miles would be far away. And then we're going to want to serialize, right? And a serial transfer is where I have, if this is a shift register, I'm going to start to shift those bits one at a time. Usually it's across 2 things. There's my data line and my clock line, right? That synchronizes it to some other receiver down here. And he could be, again, fairly far away from us. The advantage of serial is what? Fewer wires, fewer connectors, less cost, right? Which is pretty significant. The disadvantage of serial is time, right? So serial is lower cost because of fewer wires and fewer connectors. But the bad thing is, so that's the plus. The negative is it's slower, right? I have to send 1 bit per clock cycle. Now we make these things really rev, so we kind of make them go pretty fast. But just the same, that would be a serial transfer. Now, the question Paul actually asked, and the question that's asked here, what hardware is required to implement each? Well, let's think about it. If I'm going to do a parallel transfer, I have to have a parallel loadable device, right? It's got to be able to load everything in parallel. If I'm doing parallel to serial, that's what like this device would be. It had to have a parallel load capability and then a shift capability, right? So it had to be a parallel loadable shift register. On the receiving end down here, this is going to have a clock and data, right? So this is going to have to be a shift register. And generally, if you are a shift register, you will eventually have your outputs be parallel once it's got there, right? So it would have to have at least a serial in and a parallel out. And I mean, that's very typical. So I think the answer you'd want to say is you need a parallel loadable shift register. That's the kind of hardware that would be required. And I can pull that up in Logic if you wanted to see it. But if you look at the parallel serial circuit that we studied, that's what it did. It did a parallel load. That took 1 clock cycle, right? And then we shifted those bits over. And I guess we only did a 4-bit version, so we need 4 clocks to get over to the receiver. Okay. Good question. Other questions? Kenny?
How exactly would you make the X and Y input for the small computer not unknown? Would you just like and the
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's go back to that. Yeah, if I pull up the small computer, let's talk about that. Okay, so here's the 2 pages of the small computer. It's kind of strange. I must have something bad with this. Okay. On here specifically, actually, you know what, probably better. Let me pull up the, let me go to page. Yeah. So here's where the don't care show up, right? So why were these don't cares here, for instance? When we're using the keypad, we didn't care what came in on the Y or X bus because it's ignored. So therefore, there were don't cares here. When we're not using the keypad, those are don't cares. There's another kind of thing that can happen, especially on either this one, and this one. If I'm doing a not X, do I care what's on Y? I don't. So that would be a don't care on the Y bus, like these guys. So I would have something I cared about here, but something I didn't care about here. If I did a Y I did a Y, did I say that right? Whatever I meant to say. One of them I care about, one of them I don't, right? So those are the places where don't cares would show up, Kenny, on the thing, is if you're doing a function that doesn't involve all the different possibilities.
So then to make it not a don't care, would you just be like using and or something, like and the keypad with the input, like some extra wire out?
Okay, I think you might be misunderstanding what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So if I were on the test, instead of writing this as 40, I could have written this as 43. So I could ask you on the exam, if I entered the command 43, what would it do? What register transfer statement would take place? And what you do is I hope you kind of figure it out like this. Big mess back here. So you put down 4 here, right? And you put down 0, 0, and then 1, 1 here, right? Because that's what 43 would be. And then you'd analyze this, and you'd say, okay, well, what's the operation? What command is going on here? 4, okay, that's a keypad command. Okay, so it's a keypad command. I guess in this case, it was a 05. Now, the storage location is A, right? And I hopefully get here and say, well, do I really care what's on the X and Y bus? Yeah, so these guys I just wouldn't care about. And I'd hopefully still come up with this answer. So I'm just saying if I could have picked 41 or 42, right? All 4 of those do the exact same register transfer statement. I may on the test not pick this one. I might pick that one or that one or that one. And it shouldn't throw you off because you're like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. It'll still perform that function. Christopher?
So when you're writing the final commands, you usually use the lesser of terms, correct? For the second, so since it's 0.
I usually let these
so
be zeros.
You just use the lesser of terms. That's what. Yes.
I don't know why
I
I'm not
think he's
understanding.
asking what you did on the homework. Like on the homework, you have 40 and 48. You just, for the
Correct.
samples, you just wrote the 0.
And probably I should have done, right?
That's what I did.
What else could this have been? 49, 4A, 4B. Actually, all of those would have performed the exact same thing. So maybe that would have been a better thing to write out. And you could easily do that on your test, as you're going through it and say, well, it doesn't really matter what those guys were. Yes?
Alright, so for this, when we get the, like, on the test, we'll have to determine, like, which numbers will determine storage location and stuff.
Correct.
How, like, where exactly would we look to find that?
Good. Yeah, because you are. The kind of things that I'm gonna ask on the test are, which of the following are legal or are illegal, right? Certain ones can't be done. And then if I gave you this, what does it perform? Or if I asked for this, which of the following is the right command, right? That's how it's gonna go down, so let's not do it. Okay, so my strong recommendation to you is don't answer any of the questions until you've analyzed the computer well. So you're gonna be given a computer like this, and probably the first thing I would do is the first thing I did in here, analyze the ALU first, and figure out for 0, 0, it was an and, for 0, 1, it was an or, right? Not X, not Y, keypad, X, adding, or the sum of X and Y, and the difference X minus Y, by analyzing this page. Come up with that truth table, just do it. Next thing I would do is go back to page 1. Now, for you, it's going to be all on one page. And then you're going to have to say, oh, what registers connect to what here? Now, could I have done something kind of like I just showed you? Maybe I put one register over here and I call it W. And I put A, B, C, and D over here. Maybe that's how I'll do it, right? That's kind of how, so this would be different. Maybe the result could go to any of these, right? So figure out the architecture by analyzing how things are going to go. And I'm not going to pull any punches or show you something you've never seen before. It's going to be like this. They're going to be registers, right? There's going to be tri-state buffers and things like this. But I'm not going to, maybe I'll use a mux or something, but nothing that you've never seen before, right? It's going to be the same thing, just kind of rearranged. So one could imagine, right? Now, if I had this sort of situation, it would change what kind of commands could happen, right? So now I have to use W as one of the registers, right? I couldn't say, I can take A plus B and store the result in W. No, that would be impossible, right? But I could take W plus A, store the result in maybe D, okay? Something like that. And so then you start figuring out which, because of the new architecture, what's possible, what's impossible, and that kind of thing. Yes, Kenny?
Could you, for the bit slice, could you do like a combinational logic with the sum and difference, or are you just gonna give us like a straight sum and difference?
I'll do very similar things, because this is what computers really do.
Okay.
They and, they or, they exclusive or, they exclusive nor. Could you imagine that I changed these to like an exclusive or and something else here, an and gates? I could do that, right? I could change, really adding and subtracting are pretty important to us. I'm probably not going to change those a lot because that's probably what I want to do. But maybe I throw a shift register in there or something else that's maybe a little bit interesting that you may know. There's only so much I can do. There are going to be things similar to this. Yes?
If you were to connect like a whole bunch of them to like the Y bus, what would that look like on the diagram with the registers?
Yeah, let's think about that. How about I wanted to actually do this? How would it change? Now, if I think about it, I'd have to add another register here, wouldn't I? And it would be kind of its own guy. And he alone would drive X. You can imagine, maybe I'd pull that guy off. This becomes W, and now I have 4 of these. Well, what if I just did this? What if I did, say this? Because now I have, what if I made A here? I'll try to just do it. I'll make A be like the W of the microchip pick thing. And maybe I have these 3 over here. This would be a little bit weird because it's not, 3 isn't a nice power of 2, so it's kind of unlikely, but oh well, we'll do it this way. What would change? Well, want me to do it? I don't want to save this. But see, I could just delete this. What I really need to do is I need to now route this one into here, don't I? So I would have to do its own, actually I guess that's a little aggressive. Okay, so I got him. Now I got to get him to connect to all of these, right? That'll take a while, but you're going to imagine I do that? So I got all these connected, so now he is also connected to Y here. But I'm going to have to change who drives this, right? Is this going to cut the mustard anymore over here? I'm going to have to go to really a 2 to 4 decoder, right? Instead of having EC and ED, that's not going to be good enough anymore. I'm gonna have to blow this stuff away, and I'd need one of these. I'd want, and you see, it would require another bit, wouldn't it? Another bit here, well, but I wouldn't need this one anymore, because it's always, well, yes, I would. No, I still need him. He would actually be kind of like this. This would be like my EA, because maybe I do want him to load the result, right? So I can't lose that. But another bit of command would come in here. Does that make sense? I'd have to like bump these up, and I would use this last bit to control which of these three, if you can see what's going on here. Yeah, I would need an E2. Wasn't that nice? Did you see that? Yeah, that was cool. Okay, so now I lost, yeah, I probably need EC here, ED here. This is getting a little too exotic, I'm sure, but I'd need my EA, I need an EB down here. Right. So this is just kind of fun, but this is what we do. We love this stuff. It's called computer architecture and design, right? And so now I've changed it so that I have A is the only guy coming in here, but B, C, or D come in over here. And that would change what this thing could do, right? It would change its architectural abilities, those that are legal registered transfer statements and those that are not. And really, we'd have to do almost everything with A over here now. Right? A stuff would happen. But if I ever tried to do, whoops, that doesn't make sense. Sorry, we'll erase the wrong one. This has got to be B, C, D here, right? Could I do operations on B and C at the same time? B added to C? No, that's not going to work. Does that help? A little bit? Yes.
I have a question about the tri-state buffers, because they would, oh, I guess, no, because the enable would just make one go through, oh, never mind, sorry.
Yeah, that's what's really cool about the tri-state buffers. You know, in that, can I have 3 here? Yeah, you could, as long as you guarantee that only one of those 3 is active or true at any one point in time. Right? That would be okay. If I connected these up right, it would go. I guess I'm paused right now, that's what's going on. So yeah, like right now, if you look, this is okay. I guess nothing's driving E2, but only one of these could be on at any one point in time. So like right now, EB is on, but EC and ED are off. You see that? So, yes. Cool.
Would you need E0? Can you just kite to power, EA to power?
Oh, kind of. Oh, yes. Actually, E0 I could. No, you're right. In this case, you're right. Yeah, I don't need this. I wouldn't even need the tri-state buffer at all. I can just let it go through. Because there's only one thing on this bus. You're right. I was thinking about the load. I may want to load this one. I may want to load this one or this one, but that's being taken care of by the other thing. So you're right. Yeah. I could free up E0. I wouldn't need it anymore. So he would go away. Which means I could use these 2 down here, honestly. I'm trying to maybe architect on the fly here, but yeah, that's it. David?
Alright, so, like, you can transfer things between, like, B and C, like, you can take, like...
Right, so what you'd have to do, right, is like, there'd have to be like a Y command. This is X. We would really want a Y command and move like E through and then like store it under here or something.
Okay.
But if we wanted to really like, say I wanted to add these 2 together, I'd have to send Y through and put it into the A register so that B now sits here, right? And then I'm going to take whatever C is, add those 2 together, maybe put B plus C into there, something like that. But this is pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. At some point you might say, that's all it can do? That's all it needs to do. That's what puts men on the moon and makes your car run and does all the things that it does. It's just little things like this, just millions of them, right? Especially when you can do, think about that, for $2, 72 million instructions per second, that thing can do. That's a lot, right? You can do a lot with that. So, all right, all good questions. Somebody else a question? All right, what I think I'd like to do then in the last 4 minutes here is I find that people kind of maybe forget just a wee bit about some of the old stuff. Again, it will be about 60% review. Negative numbers are pretty important. Make sure you got those down. Maybe I'll do a quick example of that. If I wrote down that number and said it was in a negative number system, what value is that in base 10? Yeah, that's positive 6 in all systems, right? The positive numbers are the same. What if I change this to a 1? What happened to that number? Excellent. What system? Sign and magnitude. It'd be negative 6, right? What if I said 1's complement? Okay, you flip every bit, right? So the 0 becomes a 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. This is positive 9, so this must have been negative 9 in 1's comp, right? What if I said 2's comp? It's negative 10. You copy all zeros to the first one, and you flip all remaining bits, right? That would be plus 10, so this must have been minus 10. Obviously, you could also flip all bits and add 1 if you prefer to do it that way. Okay, so be sure there's probably at least 4 out of the 50 questions deal with negative numbers. So you get some more than that. So that's very important. Okay, let's just talk about, oops, I turned that off. Okay. Let's do a little bit of review of test 1. It's been the longest since you did that stuff. Let's do this pretty quick. If I had, if I gave you that, would you give me the max term expansion? Okay, right, it's going to be what? This would change to a capital pi, capital M, right? And it's going to be what? 2, 3, not 4, right? Because this is going to be pi don't care for, because the don't cares don't change, right? Is that it? 5, there we go. Good. Yeah, so third on came out, I mentioned in passing before, you will not need page 55. I will not give you any Boolean algebra proofs on the test. Just, you can use K-maps, we can solve it other ways. You will have to do De Morgan's theorem on the test, okay? But page 55 doesn't really help you with that anyway, right? Changing all the ands to ors to ands, and complementary literal, right?
What about consensus?
Consensus, you will solve through K-maps in essence. You won't have to do algebraic consensus. Okay, so here we plot ones at 0 and 1, not at 2 or 3 or 4 is a don't care. 5 is 0, 6, and 7 are 1s, right? You solve this, you look for lonely ones, and that would be what? F is equal to AB, or A naught B naught. I guess this has another name. I wasn't trying to do this. It's exclusive NOR, right? Or equivalence. If we were to build this, it would look like this, and, or. Right? Or you could do an exclusive OR, okay? Now, what if I ask you for the POS solution? What would you do? You would group the zeros, right, and find F naught SOP. So, and this looks like he's pretty lonely. He's only got 1. That would be what? A naught B. Actually, we sort of know the answer to this one, don't we? What's the opposite of exclusive NOR? It's exclusive OR, right? This guy has 1 neighbor. In this case, that X is going to get grouped with a 0, and he will become AB naught. Those are both there. Now, we're not done yet. We would want to complement this, right? And it would be A or B naught, A naught or B. Great. And we would have POS. E is an OR and structure, like this. And these are both F. This is going to be what? A, B naught. This is A naught. Just like that. Okay, what if I said, hey, I want you to implement this with a mux? Probably a sensible mux size would be a 4 to 1. And we put the 2 biggest, the most significant bits until we run out, right, on the control lines. And then we find those regions on the K-map and say, where is A naught, B naught, where they're both 0? And it would be this region right there. And what would we put on the 0 input? 1 here we put 0. Here we put 0, and here we put, wow, those worked out nicely, but maybe not so good because you didn't know, but, right? The only thing that could have been is like something with respect to C, either C or C naught. There weren't any of those in this case. What if I could just, was kind of chintzy and all I gave you was a 2-to-1 mux? Could you solve that? Right now it's this whole half. Where is A not true? It's this whole half. What would be the reading of that with respect to B and C? B naught down here. And the side over here would be just B. Right? So those would all work fine. I guess one other thing I could have went back to, say I wanted to use only NAND gates, right? The SOP solution, where do the bubbles belong? In the middle, right? So these guys would be, that would be a nice NAND solution. This is a NAND X gate, right? And likewise, if I wanted to implement NOR gates, the bubbles would go here. They all cancel in this case. What if you get one that doesn't cancel? And you have to complement that literal, right? So, okay, well, hopefully that's helpful. Again, try to be there before 7 o'clock. I'll try to start us right at 7 tonight. No, it's 2:10. ENS 2:10. Somebody else had reserved.
It's 2:45 on the syllabus. It's 2:10.
Yeah, I think Moodle might say, does Moodle say 2:45? Yeah, it's not in 2:45, it's in 2:10. So everybody, 2:10, sorry. Moodle's wrong, I'll try to change it. I